Top 10 most cheapest countries to visit in the world. What are the world's least expensive countries? Is a popular query for those preparing to travel the globe and preoccupied with their financial plans. Don't you worry, we are here now with a great video on top 10 most cheapest countries to visit in the world. First of all, do subscribe our YouTube channel. Let's start. After all, you want to plan your global vacation in this way, so you may shrewdly include as many of the most affordable nations to travel to your itinerary as you can. In this manner, you can maximize your budget and see as much as you can. Logically, you'll discover some of the world's most affordable nations in this video. And not surprisingly, the majority of them are Asian nations. Use the list to plan your next international trips budget. Number 10, Sri Lanka. Popular nations like Thailand, Vietnam, and other nearby nations have somewhat hemmed Sri Lanka in recent years. However, Sri Lanka has a lot to offer, and since the rates are so low and the infrastructure is rather solid by Asian standards, the nation is ideal for backpackers. In the Netherlands, a typical supper costs the same as a Snickers or Mars bar. And top hotels start at around 25 to 30 euros per night. Sri Lanka is a reasonably priced, stunning, and diverse country that you must see while traveling the globe. Number 9, Guatemala. Guatemala is still one of the least expensive places to visit when traveling the globe. You can get a return flight to Guatemala for roughly 500 euros. Do you truly believe in saving money and desire to witness a radical change in the future? Then, purchase a return ticket via Miami for 300 euros, spend a few days exploring the city on a shoestring budget. And then fly from Miami to Guatemala on a budget for as little as 85 euros round trip. Once you are in Guatemala, you'll also discover that life and travel are incredibly affordable when you venture slightly off the usual path. The cost of travel throughout the nation is quite low, as are the costs of food and hotels. Number 8, Cambodia. Cambodia is one of the least expensive nations to include on your global tour, except for the Angkor Wat region. The average cost of a round-trip flight from Europe to Cambodia is 550 euros. But you can choose to fly to Bangkok for a lower price and then travel to Cambodia by land for a few extra dollars. Here, food and lodging are incredibly inexpensive, making a longer stay relatively affordable. Yes, a bed in a hostel is already available for about 2 euros per night. The boat voyage from Battambang to Siem Reap is another fun activity. The final portion of the journey is crossing the tunnel Sap Lake after sailing down the Sangkar River. Only when the water is high can the voyage be made, otherwise, the boat will become trapped, lengthening the trip by 5 to 10 hours. You will pass protected wetlands on this boat ride and interact with the locals. Number 7, Philippines. The Philippines was still among the 3 cheapest nations to include on a world tour about 5 years ago. Sadly, this is changing quickly due to the massive increase in Chinese tourism and the fact that practically speaking, people cannot meet the great demand. Particularly lovely hotels right on the beach have significantly increased in price in recent years. It is still incredibly affordable to travel around the country with a little common sense. Jeepneys are a dirt cheap way to go around, but domestic flights, boats, and vans are also very inexpensive options. Flights to Manila are available for as little as 550 euros. Number 6. Mexico. When you think of the cheapest countries, Mexico isn't the first place that comes to mind. However, the nation is quite inexpensive for travelers. Traveling around the nation is simple and extremely affordable with public transportation, buses. Those who can stay away from popular tourist destinations like Cancun can live here for a very long period. There are plenty of affordable airline tickets available due to the high tourist demand for Cancun and Playa del Carmen. Returns are available starting at 450 euros. Number 5. Malaysia. Despite generally being much more developed than its neighbors, Malaysia is still a relatively affordable and budget-friendly country to include on your global travels. In general, public transportation is well organized, particularly in cities. You can eat anything here due to the cultural diversity. The kitchen has representation from every nation. By European standards, the cuisine is unquestionably not just wonderful but also incredibly affordable. There are many hostels, and for as little as €5 or €6, you can have a comfortable place to stay. Because both Singapore and Kuala Lumpur are major nodes from which dozens of flights each day to Amsterdam or Dusseldorf depart, airline tickets are extremely inexpensive. Airline tickets start at €450, but with a little luck, you might be able to locate one for €350 or less. Number 4, Thailand. Thailand, which was around 10 years ago, is often ranked among the world's least expensive nations. Thailand has long been one of the least expensive nations in Asia. That has changed lately because Thailand's tourism has seen a significant increase, which has pushed down prices. The good news is that costs appear to be reduced once more as a result of recent declines in tourists. With a few notable exceptions, the entire nation is still quite affordable. And you can especially take advantage of the inexpensive street cuisine at a low cost. Flights to Bangkok start at €400. You could also be able to locate some decent last-minute deals. Every day, dozens of planes depart for Bangkok, but not all of them are fully booked because travel is steadily declining. Nowadays, more and more people choose Malaysia or the Philippines instead of Thailand, which is already out in that respect. Number 3, Indonesia. Indonesia's costs have stayed cheap despite Indonesia, and Bali in particular, becoming quite well liked in recent years. Bali is the ideal destination for self-indulgence because you can already reserve 4- or 5-star accommodations, with all the bells and whistles for under €40. You also have nothing to gripe about when it comes to flight tickets, as there is great rivalry among hotels and you can discover something special for next to nothing with a little decent searching. There are plenty of seats because there are roughly 20 direct flights per day from Amsterdam to Bali. There is always a good deal nearby. Flights start at €400, peaking at €250 for a round-trip ticket. Number 2, Colombia. Colombia continues to be one of South America's least expensive nations. It was a different scent since this was equally as nice as what Nicaragua or Bolivia could take. Colombia was ultimately our choice because it has the most diverse population of the three. Colombia has it all: a vibrant culture, an abundance of natural beauty, jungles, stunning islands, and even immense deserts. Tickets for flights to Colombia start at around €600. Unfortunately, compared to Asian countries, flying to South American countries is a little more expensive. But don't let that stop you from traveling. Number 1, Myanmar. I anticipated Myanmar to be higher on the list of the world's least expensive nations. Due to the country's poor infrastructure and the fact that tourism in Myanmar is still developing, it does not rank among the top 5. Moving about in Myanmar can be challenging at times, and lodging can be hard to come by. You soon find yourself willing to spend more for a comfortable bed because the options are few and they get booked up quickly. Although you already have a bed for €5, you immediately pay much more because they are so hard to come by. Myanmar is still one of the most affordable nations in Asia, and it has a fair place in this list of the top 10. Compared to nearby nations, it costs a little more to fly to Myanmar. You can find flights for between €550 and €600. Seats are limited simply because there are much fewer flights that way. Make sure to reserve early and avoid paying too much. The end of this video comes up at this point. Do you find it helpful for you? Post your feedback in our comment section.